guys, my name's Lisa,
And I'm Brittany.
And I'm Tara.
and this is the Imperfect Moms Club. Each week, we promise to give you the honest truth about all things mommyhood, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the real ugly.
The hardest part of finding childcare for me was just accepting the fact that I had to go back to work at 3 months, which was always the plan for me, but in the moment, it just was kind of like heart-wrenching for me. I was kind of resentful and mad that this was how our culture, our society in America was, that 3 months was the adequate time to spend with your baby after birth. So that was really hard for me. And then just like straight up finding childcare that was someone that I trusted with my child's life, and then doing it for 40 hours a week, and then feeling absolutely horrible and guilty for having to do it that many hours a week. Just so rough. We do have a great situation with our childcare provider. Charlotte's been with her since I went back to work, so about 3 months old. She is a stay-at-home mom who has a son who has epilepsy. So Charlotte just goes and chills with them during the day. And we lucked out. It's not like a traditional situation, but it's turned out to be a great situation for us. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's still hard for me to not be like, well, I would have done it this way, or I would have waited on her nap. I would have fed her at this time, whatever the situation may be. But I've come to reflect back on that, and it's more likely a reflection of my inner feelings of not being able to be with her those hours and not make that decision myself than it is an issue of anything that our nanny did. It's hard. And, one time it was right after I'd went back to work, and there was a mom who was in a similar situation with me, and in our pumping room in my hospital, there's like 2 chairs, and so we were sharing the room pumping. She had just had a baby weeks before I did, a nurse that I had worked with, who I'd been friends with, and she was telling me that she was gonna basically quit because, and I quote, her words were, she should be the one to raise her child, not someone else. And it felt like such a personal attack to me, because of course that's where I wanted to be, but the circumstances are what they are, and yes, I do have to work. And so that was just rough, and sometimes I think she didn't mean to say something like that, but at the end of the day, sometimes we have to just be careful what we're saying, especially to other new moms who are so full of hormones and emotions. But also at the end of the day, I am grateful that we're more than able to provide for her daughter. She has a strong college fund already. I'm grateful for the hours that I do have with her. I work the lowest amount of full time that I can. And that she gets care from someone she adores, because she loves going to Miss Amber's house. And I know that Miss Amber truly loves her too. So I'm grateful for our situation, even though it's so hard for me as a mom sometimes, and the mom guilt of just not being able to spend that time with her, especially this time when they're so young and you just don't get that time back before they're in school, things like that. But just mom life, we get through it. We are in a routine, and we kind of know what we're doing, and someday our circumstances might change, and that would be great, but we're just grateful for the way things have turned out now.
So what we're doing right now with Lily is we have a part-time nanny because I can't toddler and pregnant at the same time. Like I figured that it went out really quick. I was like, look, there's no way. At first it was I can't mentally and emotionally handle it, but now it's I can't mentally, emotionally, or physically handle it. I just I can't even pick up my toddler. I cried the other day because Lily just really wanted me to hold her and pick her up and snuggle her, and I couldn't. And then she started crying she was really sad, and it just broke my heart. And then I just kind of walked back into the bedroom like a dejected, sad piece of crap. So this nanny, she's amazing. She comes in and she, makes sure that Lily has someone to play with. But I mean, I guess I was always a stay-at-home mom, and so sometimes I hear Lily having a lot of fun with someone who isn't me, and I'm like, I would almost prefer her to be somewhere else outside of the house, so I don't have to hear that, because then I'm like, yeah, maybe that should be me out there with her.
I fell into this thing, kind of a guilt trip with my youngest, Molly, because so I worked at the facility where she was, I was just in the next room or just a couple rooms over, and Molly just loved, we'll just call her Miss B because I don't want to say her name, but Miss B. Oh, she just loved Miss B to pieces. And it would even get to the point where we would see her outside of daycare times, maybe at church or maybe at an event, and Molly would just, she'd go like this, her hands would be out, hold me. So I'd give her to Miss B, and then Molly wouldn't want to come back to me. And I'm like, girl, I am pumping like a cow over here for you. I'm waking up every 2 hours. I'm dropping all this cash on your diapers. And I remember being like, are you kidding me right now? And Miss B was so sweet and she was so great. She's like, Brittany, listen, it's not that she loves me more than you. It's just that my whole job is literally just taking care of her. When she's with you, of course you love her, you take care of her, but you also have to cook dinner. You also have to take care of Clara, and you're still trying to fold laundry and maybe read a book or have some kind of social life. So for her, Miss B was like, oh, she only thinks about me. Well, no, Miss B only thinks about you because that's her job for this amount of time. Yeah. So the world doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
You think it does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most of this is also hormonal, hormones raging and stuff. But there are days where I'm just like, can she just want me? And, and then she does want me. And then I'll do too much. I know that I can't be lifting her and stuff because I'm not physically able to, but I'll do it anyway because she's my kid, right? So she wants me to pick her up, and then I'll end up in bed for 10 to 20 minutes because I can't breathe, It's just, the other day I was like, somebody rip my uterus out so I can hug my toddler. Please just yank it out of my body because I don't want this anymore right now.
Yeah.
My husband and I have been thinking about sending Lily to preschool probably around the time that the new baby is 6 months. So that'd be December-ish. Just because so daycare is nice because they get the social interaction, but preschool, I feel like there's more structure and they're teaching them things. And so, I'm thinking it would be better if we can find a preschool that's around the same price as a daycare would be anyway, Plus, she's eventually going to go to school. And so I'd like her to kind of learn that structure before she gets there. So it's not
yes,
what is this? It's just the mom guilt, man. Mom guilt is killing me because then I think, it's just been me and her this whole time. And so I don't want her to think that I'm abandoning her or that I don't want her anymore. And so I'm just giving her to other people. But I'm like, no, it's, it's beneficial to her in the long run.
Right.
And putting her in preschool makes me feel a little bit better about that. I feel no, she's learning stuff there,
Right.
She's learning things and she's, and so I don't know. I feel a little bit better about it than at daycare. Not that there's anything wrong with daycare. It's
right.
Just,
no, yeah.
Personal preference.
Yeah, every kid is so different. Some of them, it's just so funny that at drop-offs, some of these kids just march right in with their little backpacks and they don't even say bye to their mom. They're just later. They just pop right in and mom's looking at me ah. I'm like, it's okay, just leave. I'll text you a picture later, I promise. But then I have other ones where I've had to peel them off of their mother and their mother has left the building, heard them screaming from the parking lot and come back. And I'm like, don't come back. I promise I can do it. Don't come back. But yeah, and most of the time kids adjust pretty quickly. And for them, it's like, ooh, I'm a big kid now. I get to go to big kid school, even though it's preschool, you know, you're learning cow says moo, pig says oink, you know, but for them it's a big deal. And it can kind of like be like, that's like their thing that they get to do now. And then for the moms, like especially new moms, like it gives you a little bit of a break. Obviously newborns are not a walk in the park. Like every 20 minutes they're crying about something, but I think it's really healthy if you can do it for your just mental health and just give everyone a chance to breathe, you know, and then it gives her an opportunity to shine too and like be her own little person. And then she can come back and be like, oh my God, Mom, we learned about how to make green, you know, and show her a little worksheet. And it's fun. It's good. But yeah, the mom guilt thing, like it's legit. Cause I remember the first time we had to drop off Clara, we didn't have daycare yet. We just had preschool. And I just cried all my makeup off. I couldn't even drop her off because I had to be at work at a certain time. And they opened after I had to be at work. So my husband dropped her off and he dropped me off at work and I was the first one to open. So I was the only one there. I had to like unlock the building and just all my makeup was just ugly girl cry, like the whole way because that was my baby and I was trying to breastfeed her and it wasn't working and all this.
Yeah.
Oh my word. And I didn't like where she went. It wasn't that they didn't have their qualifications or whatever, but they just weren't super friendly. And I didn't like that. They never really learned my name. It just didn't seem warm and fuzzy. So when our facility decided, oh, we want to open a daycare, I was like, okay, here's a list of everything we got to do because I've been on the end of this and I don't like this and I'm a mom. So we need to make sure that we give all of our parents X, Y, and Z. And
that's awesome that you were able to like give your ideas and do stuff. Like that's great.
Yeah. I don't want a mom walking down the sidewalk feeling the way that I felt walking down the sidewalk. I did not want to put my baby there, but I had no choice whatsoever. Yeah. So that was an interesting perspective. And then I was able to come for other moms, you know, because it's hard leaving your baby at daycare. You know, I would put my hand on their shoulder and I'm like, it's okay to cry. And it totally is. We all, us daycare providers, like we've seen it, right? It's okay to cry. That's your baby. You're going to have feels. You know, I was able to text all of our parents and be like, look, they're having a great day and send a picture or whatever, just to make them feel better. Or they could call and we'd let them know how they were doing. But yeah, a good daycare provider, like that is like worth its weight in gold. It really is.
Yeah. I still have to do the tour of the place, but I talked to the lady for a long time. And it's funny too, because, you know, Lily's my first. And so I have no idea what questions to ask. I have no idea. So she's like, do you have any questions? And I'm like when I'm on the phone, I'm just kind of like talking to somebody and like shooting the shit and just like, hey, what's up? You know, cool. But then she's like, do you have any questions? I'm like, oh, this is like real. I don't know. Are you nice? I mean, you know, so I mean, I asked about cost. That was like my first thing. But then I don't know. It's just, I just want to make sure that she goes someplace and they're nice to her and, you know, like they're, you know, I don't really, at this point, I mean, she's so smart right now. So at this point, like, I don't even care that they're like teaching her a bunch of stuff. I like the structure aspect and I just want them to be nice to her and I want her to feel like she's being taken care of. And I don't want her to, like, I want her to have fun and I don't want her to miss me and I don't want her to feel like, why is my mom leaving me at this place, you know? So I just have to like shut up the mom guilt and then I'll be fine. And plus, like, I'm definitely going to want a break to just be with an infant and a little baby. I'm like worried about that. Like the nanny is going to stop working for us, like, you know, a week after baby's born and be like, no, wait,
I'm not ready. It's like taking off the training wheels. Like, I'm not ready.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I feel like having gotten a nanny, like I kind of got spoiled because, you know, because now I have 4 hours each day to just like do whatever, you know, and I don't have to worry about her for that 4 hours. I don't have to, you know, do with stuff. And so I feel like it spoiled me. And so when she leaves, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, so now I have to do all of it. And now there's 2 of them. But I think it'll be good for Lily too to go somewhere a few days a week, just so she can. I mean, that'll be her time, because I feel like, I mean, I'm gonna have so much. I'm gonna be really busy with the new baby, and so, Lily might start to feel like she's kind of on the back burner, and that's what I'm worried about. Like, I don't want her to feel that way. Like, I'm gonna want to have like mommy and Lily days or whatever, where, But I mean, I'm gonna be I feel like I'm gonna be really busy, and so it'll be nice for her. It's hard. I feel like some moms are like prepared with like all these questions, or they have like this long list of like, what are your qualifications and like all this stuff, and I'm not like that. I don't know what it is, but as long as you're a good person, I don't know. Like,
No,
I
I
don't
totally
have,
agree.
like, you don't have to show me a resume. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, are you going to be nice to my kid? Like, are you going to make sure they don't get hurt? Like, are you going to feed them? Just the essential stuff. I don't know. I'm really big on like vibes too. So like I get a good sense of who people are just by talking to them for a little bit. So I don't know, I don't have all these questions, and I'm always telling myself, I'm like, Lisa, you're a mom now. Like, you're supposed to have this like binder of like questions and all these things and like all these lists and stuff. And I mean, I just don't. I guess I don't know. I always say that I'm like #lazy mom, but I think I'm just chill. I just go with the flow,
I think you can get a lot just from walking through the building and getting the vibes. And I don't know because of COVID and everything, but like if the kids are there, just like looking at the kids like, okay, well, did they look happy?
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend of mine who runs a home daycare here where I live. I was talking with her. And yes, we do try and keep up with all of the qualifications and your CPR and professional development and da 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 da. But the biggest thing is like, do you love my kid? Because if you don't love my kid, I don't care if you're the smartest person on the planet. I don't care if you can change your diaper in 30 seconds with your eyes closed. I don't care. I would rather leave my child with someone who I know is going to love them. And, if they fall and get hurt, you're going to drop everything and run over there. And you're going to be open and honest with me if something happens, like, hey, she fell down or whatever. Just having that relationship where it's like a team, like I'm the mom, but you're helping me. And then, if there's a problem, say, okay, well, I had a problem with one of my kids was a biter. And so we would work together, be like, okay, we have a problem here. How can we work together to make this behavior stop? Because this isn't good. We don't want her doing this, and they're not like your best friend, but you should be able to talk to them also about how'd your day go? I always tried to take interest in the family and even other kids. Like sometimes an older sibling would come in. Well, I'm not being paid to watch your older sibling, but I'll be like, hey, John, how's it going? Did you go to soccer today or whatever? If your daycare provider, preschool teacher, if you start having that connection where it's not quite family, but kind of sort of like family, like she's like your great aunt or whatever, that's good. If you get a good vibe, you feel good when you leave, you've got a good one.
I mean, honestly, my biggest problem right now is just the mom guilt. Like that's really all it is. I don't know. And then so I didn't even think, like, I wasn't even thinking like COVID, but yeah, COVID, like that completely like adds another layer because now you can't really go, like they don't let the parents in either now. So like
different.
drop off at the front, and so I don't even know how I'm gonna handle that. Like what I'm just gonna hand you my kid outside, and then I can't even like see them go play. Like it's weird. Like I took Lily to a drop-in daycare place once because I needed a massage. I went to get a massage, and so I gave her to this place, and it was just like they had to take her temperature and then my temperature, and then they like took her out of my arms, and then they just closed the door, and I like couldn't even see like what was happening inside, and I was like, but
yeah, like part of being a really good caretaker is, yes, you're taking care of the kids, but you also kind of have to take care of mom, which is why I would send so many pictures and texts, and just because, especially if I knew like mom was having a bad day, or, because I think because I'm a mom too, I really get it. Sometimes we would have a mom who would go off on a business trip for 2 weeks, and she would just randomly text and be like, I really miss so-and-so. And so we would take a little video or whatever for them. We did have one mom though who would like stick around like too long. Like she'd stay in her car because we had a playground outside. So she would come in, and if it was nice out, we would just go right outside to play in the morning and then come in and do snack and whatever. And she would just stay in her car and just kind of like drive around in a circle. And it would just make us really nervous. Like, go now. And then we had a really long driveway back to the road, and she would go like 5 miles an hour. And I'm like, just leave, please. I promise we're not doing anything. We're not supposed to. And then her son would just be at the fence, you know, just face right up against the fence. Mom.
Yeah, and like that makes it hard for the kid too, because you know, if you stay, then they're gonna be like, mommy, that's my, you know.
Yeah. So it's good, you know, you go in and I don't, because of COVID, everything's out of whack. But normally, yeah, you go in and they start doing something. They go and they start coloring, or they jump with some friends and start playing Barbies, and then you kind of like step back and like, oh, okay, they're good. And then you leave, you know. But I can't imagine just, you know, passing it over your baby and then the door gets slammed in your face. Like I don't like that. I don't like that feeling.
Yeah. So I mean, I think she went there twice, and the second time was an emergency, and then like I don't like it. I don't know. So like, as much as I love, like I prefer having a nanny just that way, like I can still see her, but then like there's like pros and cons to everything. I feel like I love the nanny coming over so that I can still see Lily, but then I can also like hear her having fun and like hear her, and I can't join them, so that hurts me. But then if I take her to daycare, like that's gonna be really hard too. I mean, I just want, you know, I want Lily to know that she's still loved and that she's being taken care of, you know, and mommy's not trying to get rid of you. I don't know. That's why I'm leaning towards preschool, because you know, it's not just I'm just bringing her somewhere to play. You know, I'm bringing her somewhere to play and learn, and you know, so it makes me feel a little bit better. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like she's a big kid now. Yeah.
You know, I think about the moms that, you know, have to work. They work full time, and you know, and I mean, they have to do daycare. Some of them have to do daycare like from like day one or really close to that. And so, I mean, there's just, everyone's situation is different. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I found that out a long time ago, you know, but so now I'm like, I'm not used to that. Even the fact that I need a nanny while I'm pregnant anyway makes me feel mom guilt, because, you know, I'm like, well, why can't I do it myself? Like, I'm fully aware that I can't, but I'm also like fully aware that I should be able to, you know, should in quotes.
Yes.
You know, that's just me shaming myself. But, you know, it's just, it's tough. It's hard. And, you know, every time I go to the kitchen to get a snack, like Lily just runs at me and she's like, mama, and she just wants me to pick her up, and like I can't. And then the nanny will try to pick her up and she'll scream, and it's just tugs at my heartstrings. So I mean, maybe it is better if she goes somewhere outside of the house. That way, like, I don't have to deal with that. But I don't know. It's so hard to, I'm going to bring up mental health again, because that's just, it's everywhere. But like, it's really hard to manage like your mental health and with kids and all that stuff. Kind of, it's, the balance is difficult. But I mean, I'm hoping that I could find, you know, this preschool we found. I hope that they're, you know, really as great as they sound. I'm going to probably do a tour with them in a few months. And then see, and, you know, hopefully they'll help me out. Like you said, they need to kind of take care of mom too. Maybe they'll see that I'm like new to this and I just have no idea what's happening. So maybe they'll, you know, kind of help me through it. I don't know.
Even just trying to find like a babysitter. Like I've got a couple of girls who they're teenagers, but like I trust them. But still, I just like, I just feel like a little bit weird when I leave. You get all these thoughts, and I don't think the guys get that. I think like Mike just gets in the car and he's like, "Woo, I'm gonna go get some steak," and I'm just like the whole way there, like, should I text her? Is she okay?
Yeah.
And when I get a babysitter, it takes me a good 30 minutes to like, okay, I'm on a date where it's fine. We're only 10 minutes away, for you to just order your whatever you're gonna order for dinner and just enjoy yourself, or else like there's no point in trying to put all this together and have a date, if you're just gonna be freaking out over that. Yeah, but the girls love it. They love having they call her their friend. I'm like, I'm actually paying her to hang out with you. They don't know that. And then they don't want her to leave. And it's cute. They're like, is she gonna come back and play with us? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll go on a date whenever you want me to.
Oh yeah, they think it's great.
I always just ask the nanny that we already have to come like in the evening, just because I don't know how many new people I want to introduce to, because I feel like with a sitter, like, you could get someone random that's awesome. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but like I want Lily to know them,
Right.
So like I'm not I'm not just trying to have like a revolving door of like random strangers that Lily doesn't know. So I feel like having her nanny come babysit is a little bit better because, she's comfortable with her and she knows her, and plus like the nanny, knows about her and knows what she does and knows how she is. Yeah, like I want someone who knows Lily really well, who loves her, to come in and see her. And I don't know, it's so weird. Like when we're first trying to find a nanny, I didn't even know what kind of, because care.com is what we use. And so care.com will ask, what kind of qualifications do you need them to have? And so I'm like, okay, well, CPR certified would be cool, in case of whatever. But I mean, transportation. And then there's do you want them to be like, have a college degree or whatever? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't think that matters.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess if she has a degree in like early childhood, like that's super cool. But I mean, other than that, like, and so there's just all these questions I have to think about. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just, like I said earlier, like I just want her to be a good person. Like, I don't know, like care, and they need you to answer these questions. And so I'm like, like I was asking my husband, like, do you want them to be college educated? And Paul's like, I don't care. And I'm like, yeah, I don't either. I don't
Yeah.
But there's so much, so many, I guess, different qualifications that nannies and babysitters can have. But I want someone that wants to spend time with my kid, because I can't, and I feel bad about it. And so I need someone to like be me when I can't be there.
Yeah. Because babysitting, it's not just, and even, working at daycare, working at preschool, you can't just sit there and like be sipping your coffee and watching the kids play. Like you have to get up and go do stuff and intervene when you're supposed to intervene, and I mean, if you like kids, it makes it so much easier and so much more fun to do than if you're just doing it because you need $20 for whatever. You're like, oh, fine, I'll watch your kid for an hour. That's not the kind of girl or person or guy I want to leave my kid with. It's like, I need to feel good because this is my most prized possession. I'm going to give her to you and trust you to take care of her, like physically, emotionally, and like all the things. Like it's a really big job. It's a big deal. So yeah, a really good childcare provider. They get to know your family, and even the kids who aren't in their care, they really become almost like a part of your family. They love your child as their own, and they take interest in your child as a whole person, not just from the hours where you drop them off for childcare, as a whole person, meaning they know what their likes are, what their dislikes are. They know their favorite cartoon show. They know if they like goldfish or pretzels more, and they just take all of that into consideration, and they just love the child as a whole. And if you found someone like that you can just walk away and you just completely trust them, and your kid is going to be taken care of and loved, you've got a good one.
I mean, it's important too that moms don't feel the shame or don't feel mom guilt. I mean, I struggle with shame and mom guilt all the time. I don't know why I'm telling people not to deal with that, because I deal with it. But I mean, it's important that we, I don't know, like we're good parents, we're good moms, we need sometimes And it's not just because we need a break, you know. I mean, with this preschool, like Lily's gonna learn stuff and she's gonna, she's gonna make friends and she's gonna have a lot of fun, so it's not just for my benefit, it's also for hers. And so I think that that's what I need to focus on. And I think that might help me with the mom guilt, is realizing that no, this is good for her too. I'm not just throwing her away. It's not just because mommy's too busy to take care of you or to deal with you right now. You're going somewhere where you're going to have fun and you're going to meet friends and you're going to learn things, And so, yeah, I think that'll be really helpful for me I just got to keep telling myself that.
Parenting isn't supposed to be just a solo act. In an ideal world, you would have mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, your friendly neighbor, Bob, who comes over every now and then. Back in the olden days, how things used to work was like you literally had a little village and all the kids would go out and they'd be playing together and everyone in the town would be helping, watching over the kids to make sure they were safe, and they would be teaching them different skills and taking them under their wing. And that's how it was really supposed to be, was yes, you have mom and dad at home giving you those core values, but you also have all of these other caretakers around you who help you grow as a full human being. So unfortunately, things aren't like that anymore. And it's not super safe for kids just to be running around town, doing their own thing all day. So our village looks a little different. And that's why we have school teachers and daycare providers and nannies and babysitters. And it's healthy for the kids to have all of those different kinds of people coming into their lives and helping them grow into the person that they need to be as adults.
Thank you all so much for joining us this week on the Imperfect Moms Club. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to visit our website, theimperfectmomsclub.buzzsprout.com, where you'll be able to subscribe as well as find links to our social media accounts and a list of our episodes. We'd also love hearing from you, so feel free to leave us comments on social media or suggestions for future discussion topics. We want this podcast to be as relatable and accessible as possible, so your input would be greatly appreciated.